Hey, what is up, YouTube? Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy Father's Day to any of you dads out there. Wanted to share an interesting article I saw this morning, and it's titled 28 Successful Executives Share the Best Advice They Received from Their Dads. A father's example and advice can inexorably affect the lives of his children. So I thought this would be fun. I thought we'd go through 28 successful executives sharing their best advice they got from their dads. And I was also going to share a couple pieces of advice that I got from my dad, my grandpa, and a great uncle of mine over the years that I thought were pretty valuable. And I would invite you guys to share what's the best advice you received from your dad or a grandpa or an uncle or something like that that still sticks in your head to this day. One other thing I kind of wanted to touch on, one kind of cool thing I see is a lot of parents, both men and women, aunts, uncles, grandparents, getting their children, their nephews, their nieces, their grandkids involved in their business. I know Tawny, who watches the show, she was getting her, I believe it was her granddaughter involved in some of her side hustles. I've talked to a number of dads who are kind of letting their kids kind of play a role in their side hustles as well. And I think that's really, really valuable. Less than 10% of people in the country are self-employed, which is a pretty small percent, right? And of those 10%, there's a lot of people who are probably like accountants and lawyers who, not to take anything away from them, but it's not really what we think of when we think of like typical entrepreneurship. So when we're talking about like entrepreneurship and hustling, a very small number of people do these jobs, which means a very small number of kids are exposed to this as like another alternative lifestyle or an alternative way of earning a living. When I was a kid, my mom worked for a bank. My dad was in sales. And don't get me wrong, they taught me some great lessons and things like that, but I was never really exposed to entrepreneurship. So when I started getting involved in entrepreneurship, it's really kind of a mind trick, like wrapping your head around the idea that yes, like you can earn money outside of a job. You don't have to go to a 9-to-5 job in order to earn money. And I think that's one thing that we see consistently across all the side hustle stories that we do on Tuesdays, as well as anyone who started a business. A lot of times, whether that first sale is $5, $50, or $500, even if it's a very small amount of money you make, there's like this mental blockade that's removed from the idea that I can only earn money working for somebody else. I remember when I earned like my first 25 cents from AdSense, it's only 25 cents. I probably could have made more money looking on the sidewalk for people who had dropped change. But like making a quarter, 25 cents, but that I basically created out of thin air. I made out of nothing. That it really kind of opened up a blockade in my mind and made me realize like, wow, I maybe don't need an employer to pay me money. And I remember like when I sold my first ebook, like, wow, I can literally create money out of thin air just with my thoughts. So before we get into this, the two best pieces of advice that I've ever gotten, my dad and my grandfather were huge on saying, if you believe you can or believe you can't, you're probably right. Now, I think that's a twist on, I forget if it was Abe Lincoln or Thomas Edison, but that's kind of a twist on one of their famous phrases. But they were real big on it. And I remember like I was big into baseball and sports when I was a kid. And, if we were playing a really good baseball team, my dad would be like, you guys going to win today? And I'd be like, I don't know. We're playing, Bill Phillips Chevrolet. They're pretty good. And my dad would always say, if you believe you can or believe you can't, you're probably right. My grandpa would always say the same thing. And I think that kind of mental mindset, visualization and believing in yourself, really, really incredibly important. And that's something that kind of sticks in my head to this day. And another one that my great uncle actually used to say to me, this one always sticks in my head as well. My great uncle, he grew up in the early 19th century, probably born like 1908, 1910, something like that. And they grew up in the back of the yards neighborhood behind the Chicago stockyards. That Upton Sinclair's book, The Jungle, I think was actually based on the stockyards in that area. But he actually joined the priesthood at maybe 16, 17 years old, wound up going to Brazil and lived in Brazil for like the next 60-something years, lived a really fascinating life. I remember there's all these fun stories of like some of my uncles and things like that going over to visit him in Brazil. And I remember one time they got tipped over in the Amazon River and there were piranhas and they thought they were going to drown. But yeah, the guy just lived a really fascinating life, has a lot of interesting stories, did a ton of traveling. And I remember anytime he asked me something, he'd always tell you some crazy story about something he did or something in the rainforest. And he'd be like, hey, Johnny, have you ever been there? Have you ever done this? And I'd always say no. And I remember one thing he always said, he said, Johnny, never say no, say not yet. And it's just kind of a positive thinking thing, kind of keeping your mind open to opportunities and things like that. So those are some of the pieces of advice that kind of ring in my head. So number one, surround yourself with great people. The best advice I ever received from my dad is to always surround yourself with great people. You never want to be the smartest people in the room and want individuals that will challenge you to think outside the box and help break through the ceiling to the next level. He has proven himself with creating leadership from 9 of the best individuals, sometimes with different opinions, but always come together to make decisions for what is best for the company. Jennifer M. Jackson, VP of Development of Hungry Howie's, a national pizza franchise. Number 2, take things one step at a time and everything else will fall into place. My dad always taught me how to figure out how to get on first base, then on second base, and then on third. The home runs will happen in their own time. Andy Wiederhorn, President and CEO of Fat Brands, a global franchising company that develops fast casual dining restaurants around the world, including Fat Burger, Buffalo's Cafe, Ponderosa, and Bonanza Steakhouse. Number 3, this is a popular one. We're the average of the people we spend time with. One of the most valuable lessons I learned from my father growing up was that we are all guilty by association. In other words, we are the average of people that we spend the most time with. So if you want to be a drug dealer, surround yourself with drug dealers. If you want to be a millionaire, surround yourself with millionaires. This goes for surrounding yourself with people who are caring, generous, and really carried into the kinds of friends and professional networks that I aim to keep. Adam Callanan, CEO and founder of Bottle Keeper, which was recently featured on Good Morning America and The View. Number 4, your name is all you have, so protect it. My dad's advice, essentially your name is your integrity and how people know you will do what you say you will do. It's how they know you'll live up to the standards you have set for yourself as a son, a husband, a father, a professional, and so on. I didn't realize until later in life how profound and deep this was. I was building my own personal brand, and my name was how people in my professional network, and most importantly, how my children would see me. When I am gone, what will they know me by? It will be by how they speak to my name. This gem will be passed on to my children and hopefully generations to come. Brett Worthington, VP of Global Business Development and Partnerships at Smart Things, a company helping to turn homes into smart homes, acquired by Samsung in 2014. Number 5, you'll be happier professionally if you love life. I specifically remember a time earlier in my career when I stayed late at work and missed a performance I was supposed to give for my guitar class. He called to see how it went, and I told him I ended up spending time at work instead, and he made me promise that while work is important, I would put myself first and work around my personal life, rather than through it. That balance has kept me sane, and I've continued to grow my career. His contagious energy and motivation to make it look easy and have it all has made me always work harder to keep making him proud. Aaron Jordan, leader of the retail technology and commerce practice at Walker Sands Communications and author of Future of Retail Report. Number 6, every stranger can teach you something. My dad is a hardworking carpenter and business owner from Long Island, and he has an incredible gift for connecting with strangers. He can get almost anyone, and I mean anyone, to open up and speak about what is truthfully meaningful to them. It could be the guy working the deli meat counter, the finance executive on the train, the kid raising money door to door for his football team, the elderly ladies at the nursing home. When others would be polite and keep their distance, my dad has a boldness to ask people real questions. He's not abnormally charismatic or friendly, but he is intensely curious. In a world where we are all buried in our phones, unplanned conversations can add richness and adventure to your life and career. We all want to feel known, and I'm so thankful to have my father's example of boldness, spontaneity, and openness to follow. Drew Agostino, CEO of Crystal, which provides millions of personality assessments each year to over 2,000 companies worldwide. Number 7, character counts. I can't remember a single time when my dad didn't hold the door open for someone behind him or for someone approaching, or a single time when he didn't stop and offer to assist an elderly person who may or may not have needed a simple helping hand. In short, my dad personifies integrity and respect. I've tried to emulate my dad and have found that embodying these characteristics in my personal as well as business life has helped me to thrive and feel fulfilled at the end of each and every day. Goodness is about character. I've been fortunate to be a part of several high-energy management teams, launching and building startup companies in the high-tech arena. We were most successful in the markets where and each other critical executive embraced integrity and respect. I cannot thank my father enough for such valuable lessons early in life. Brian Fitzgerald, SVP of Global Solutions, Nokia Corporation. Number 8, always do your best. My dad was an individual that always made an impact on others and taught me that in a world that can often be cold and cruel, there's real power and beauty in being kind-hearted to others. In April of 2013, I lost my younger brother to cancer. Danny was only 33 years old, and it was devastating on so many levels. For a parent, life is never the same after losing a child. My father owned a jewelry manufacturing business, and my brother had been working for him several years. After my brother's passing, I decided to move back to Rhode Island and pick up where my brother and dad left off. Fast forward 5 years, we started a new business together called Luca and Danny, successfully leveraging the infrastructure of his factory, but now as a digitally native, vertically integrated, direct-to-consumer brand. The brand is built on lessons I learned from him, including the importance of family, celebrating people, and embracing the journey of life. My father passed away unexpectedly last month, and this will be my first Father's Day without him. I will cherish the memories that we've made together, and I'm so grateful for all of the valuable lessons he's taught me over the years. Fred Mangianimi, founder and CEO of Luca and Danny, an American jewelry brand available online as well as through a network of more than 600 retailers. Number 9, be grateful and humble in whatever role you play. When I was a little kid, the grandfather of a good friend passed away, and I first realized my grandparents wouldn't be around forever. Noticing my sadness, my grandfather asked me to fill a big bowl of water. He told me to make 2 fists and slowly put them in the bowl, and then asked me to stay there for 5 minutes. He then instructed me to slowly take my fists out of the water without spilling any water. "Do you see the big hole left behind when your hands come out?" he asked. Of course there was no hole, and the water had covered any indication that my hands had ever been there. My grandfather stated simply, "As much as I love you and you love me, that is how life will carry on once I am gone." His words instilled in me perspective of humility. Never think too highly of yourself, no matter how good you believe you are. I often recall the story of the bowl of water when a key employee resigns and realize that while it might be tough, others will step up. We will find someone new, or we might even reshape the role to fit someone else. Life is always about what we can contribute to make this world a better place, but we should still be grateful and humble in whatever role we play. The sentiment goes for both our personal and professional lives because the circle of life goes on with or without us. Anthony Guntalik, president of Amdocs Technology and Amdocs, a software and services provider for communications. And number 10, I'm going to wrap it up at number 10. We got 28. I actually got to get going to my Father's Day here shortly, but I will link to this article in the description below. So let's wrap it up with this last one. Wherever you go in life, there you are. My dad is a teacher and a guidance counselor, so he always pushed me to generate insight and learning from my own self-reflection. When sometimes I just wanted to give me an easy answer, as life unfurled, I leaned on my dad's wisdom to map a career path with one common theme: generate insight at every twist and turn. His favorite quote was, "Wherever you go in life, you are coming from Willie Nelson." Wherever you go in life, there you are, coming from Willie Nelson by way of Confucius. Okay, which is a good metaphor for my unorthodox moves. He meant to reinforce 2 key lessons. 1, there is no wrong path, only many right paths with different growth. As I took many different right paths from finance on Wall Street to technology in Silicon Valley, I got the second key learning, which is about mindfulness and presence. Wherever you are, whatever your circumstance, make the most of it, give your best effort at that moment, and you will make an impact. Sarah Bach, CMO of Equinix, an interconnection and data center company with more than 200 data centers located in 52 markets around the globe. So there's a full 28 of these. Like I said, I got to get running to my Father's Day, and I'm a little bit hoarse here. I've had a pretty fun-packed week and took the day off on Friday, went paddleboarding out on Montrose Beach, got an early start at about 6 in the morning. Went out Friday night, Saturday went to Illinois State Beach, did some more paddleboarding, and then had a couple parties last night, and up early today and out again. So I got to get running. I'm a little bit hoarse here. I will link to this article below if you guys want to check out all 28 of the life tips from executives' fathers, the things that help shape their lives. I will link to that below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if there's a piece of advice that sticks out in your mind that you got early in life, drop it down in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.